Bitcoin Otter Radio Show.
Oh my God, I love you so much.
On 97.7 FM, The City.
Greetings, blessings, and good fortune. It's the Bitcoin Otter Show again, ladies and gents. It's another happy Thursday, somewhere around the 5 o'clock area, a little bit past 15. And we're here at the studio here at 97.7 KCYP, The City, here in McAllen, Texas, inside of the McAllen Creative Incubator. Yes, Joe has been here for a while, and we are here because, well, it's a great place to be. There are artists here, there are photographers here, there are singers here, musicians, all that good stuff. And basically, it's a place for creative people. Now, Joe is very creative. Me, I'm kind of the guy who will give you the news and try not to screw it up. But that's why we're here. And that's what our message is, giving the news, getting you prepared, okay, for what we believe is coming. So, at least what I believe is coming. I'm not going to bring Joe into my jackpot. Anyway, so it's a happy Thursday. There's a lot going on. And before I go into stuff, I want to let you know that right now we're not on the air live on 97.7 FM because of some technical difficulties with the tower. But at the same time, we're out on the 97.7, the YouTube channel. We're on TuneIn Radio. It's an app. Check that out. That's a cool one. You just scan over anywhere in the world and you listen to the radio station. Well, come over here to McAllen. You can have 97.7 FM, KCYP here in McAllen. So we're out on TuneIn. We're out on the YouTube channel. Okay, both the Bitcoin Otter, I'm going to post that up later, and the 97.7 FM YouTube channel. We're going out Facebook Live here on the Bitcoin Otter account, and we're also going out Facebook Live 97.7 KCYP. So now that we have all that done, I also want to mention that there is going to be an event here at the McAllen. The Chamber of Commerce is in here also, but this is the Creative Incubator. So with all that cool stuff going on, we're going to have an event. Okay, it's going to be for the station. So as you know already, we have some technical issues. Basically, it's the age of the equipment that we're working with. Okay, so 97.7 is a non-profit organization. So it's going to be kind of a festival, and we're going to, I guess we have singers, we have comedians, we have all that good stuff, right, Joe? So we're going to have vendors. It's going to be a free event, right? Bring the family. It's going to be free, family friendly. Although it's free, if you care to donate, which is tax deductible, by the way, because it's a non-profit organization, is 97.7 KCYP. And they're also going to have snacks, vendors. Come on by, bring the family by. You can see the place, see the studio. It's not big, but at the same time, this is where the magic happens, ladies and gents. So we got a lot of stuff to cover, and I'm going to try and make it in the time allotted. I don't want to keep everybody, anybody, away from the family, away from whatever. I want to get you the news, get you what it is. Hopefully we can have some people coming in on comments or anything that you want to talk about. Let me know. I had an offline conversation on the Facebook messaging app. One of the ladies that tunes into the show would like me to cover some things, and that's what I'm going to do also. Again, if you want to contact me at bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com, I'll talk about what you want to talk about. Give us, some sort of insight as to what you want to hear about. Give me you want to come on the show, that's fine. We're going to have a sponsorship drive going up too. So if you want to advertise your business, we're going to have you on the show if you would like to, monthly, if you'd like to. If you're that kind of, photogenic person, which I am not, the frame would very much appreciate that. And then also we'll put you on, we'll put your business up on the show a couple times a show. And we'll just highlight what it is you do, be it local here in the Valley or anywhere in the U.S. and Canada too. Well, let's open it up worldwide, Joe. Yep. Worldwide, okay? So we don't want to discriminate against anybody from any country. Just be patriotic about your country, whatever country that might be. So, that said, we'll go into a few things about what's going on, and we'll do the usual, right? So we got the gold price. What's the gold price? Today, just before the show, $1,988, 1988. Oh man, wouldn't that be awesome to go back to that year, huh, Joe? Yeah. Man, Anyway, we can't. So let's deal with what we got here in 2023. So 1998 for the gold price, 24.16. Okay, 24.16 is the silver price. So, Mary, good to see you, Mary. Glad to have you on. We got the comments on here. I'll be able to see them. The last few shows I was at home, and I'm getting to learn the system, the open broadcasting system that I have on the computer. But here on the at the studio, we're working off of my phone, and Joe's got all the good technical stuff in the back for the station YouTube and station Facebook. So I can see your comments. So I got Mary up here. I'll yell out as you come on in, everybody. So Bitcoin, $28,000, 28,126. As I was prepping for the show. Again, $28,000 means it's 28,000 times better than the U.S. dollar. Mortgage rates. Okay, we all want to learn about this stuff. I got a cousin in Florida that's about to go into a housing situation where they got to pick the house, they got to pick the interior, they got to do all that stuff, and they're really excited about it, and I hope it all works. But that said, a lot can go wrong nowadays. So you want to get with a competent realtor. You want to get with people who are able to navigate these difficult times. So you're going to want somebody to set up your mortgage. You're going to want somebody to work this stuff out for you. Somebody reliable, somebody you can trust, right? So we have those kind of people watching the show. Anyway, the 30-year rate, 6.85% average, just during show prep. 6.85% average for your 30-year rate. Your 15-year rate, 6.09%. So 15 is obviously a better deal, but you're gonna, your payments are gonna be higher. Everybody decides for themselves. So that's basically the things that affect us. And if you want to hear any other updates on a weekly basis or even more, let me know, because we'll keep you updated on what it is that the heartbeat, if you will, of these markets, mortgages, real estate prices, and so forth. Okay, Mary Martinez says that she's a competent realtor, so we'll get you all the information on that soon. So she's on there. You can see the comments. Hit her up if you want to know about some real estate stuff. Let her know. She'll hook you up, and hopefully you can get in the farmland, get in the residential area you want. Maybe you want a commercial. Let her know. She'll work with you, and hopefully you can get some sort of investment going, whether it's real estate, commercial real estate, whether it's your residence, whatever you want to do there. Louis is on. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. So, what do I want to talk about today? Man, there's a lot of stuff going on. What a crazy, crazy clown world, okay? We live in this clown world. We don't have to love it, but unfortunately, we live in it. So, I'm taking some notes here, things I want to cover. But here's some things as I go with the normal show prep. I'm seeing things in crypto that, if you're a crypto enthusiast, you don't like, because the government is attacking crypto right now. That said, it's not that bad of a thing. Why? Because crypto doesn't depend on government, everybody. That's why we love it. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I'm so passionate about this stuff. You don't need anybody else. Sure, you want to have an exchange. You want to have the Coinbase, which, it's debatable. If they want to be a sponsor on the show, I'll talk to you about them. But I'll tell you what, Coinbase may not be the way to go. There's other exchanges out there. There are peer-to-peer exchanges, ways where you can trade peer-to-peer. There's a great, I support him on Patreon. He's called Crazy for Cryptos. His name's Dave, okay? Crazy for Cryptos has an exchange, a peer-to-peer exchange right on its website, okay? So I guess it's .com, right? crazy4cryptos.com. You can just swap with people right there. I've used it. It worked for me. So these are things, governments can't control this. Governments can't stop this. That's why they hate crypto, ladies and gents, because governments can stop their fiat currency. They can control it. Even going into this central bank digital currency, don't get me started on that. Anyway, they can control that to the utmost. We don't want to go there, ladies and gents. But let's just say they do. They bring on central bank digital currencies. It's on a blockchain. Oh, it's not Bitcoin because Bitcoin is decentralized. This will be a very centralized system, meaning they control it all. They'll control how much of it, which is probably going to be unlimited because that's the way they roll. They're going to control how you spend this money because it's theirs, it's not yours. You might pretend it's in your account, but it's actually their account. They control it. They will do many things that you can't imagine, okay? One of them is they put a time limit on it. They don't want you to save. Let's say you've got how many digital dollars? You got 10 digital dollars. Maybe, you know, in a year or two, you've only got 8 because they don't want you to save it. The velocity of money is what keeps a fiat currency afloat. So these are the types of things you got to think about. That's why I'm here. I'm helping you navigate off-ramps from this crazy, you know, there was a song back in, I don't know if it was, I think it was the 80s. It was Ozzy Osbourne, Crazy Train. Man, that's so fitting for what we're on now because you can't stop it. It's a runaway train. And if it's anywhere in Ohio, it's going to derail. We probably got chemicals in the back, Joe. We're probably going to have some huge spill, right? Because the crazy train is running. This is in clown world. So we got clowns in the back. We got, you know, probably some nasty toxic material in the back on this clown train that is a crazy train that hopefully doesn't go through Ohio because it's like the Bermuda Triangle of train derailments. I guess I was on a rant, but I'll tell you, so much stuff is going on. It's amazing. It's amazing that we're still as stable and as solid in communities as we are. And to me, that speaks to the good guys because I speak a lot about the bad guys. I speak about the bankers. All wars are bankers' wars. I stand by that. But by the same token, we have good guys out there. And to the white hats, I salute you. And we want to do our part, right? We're in what is called the 5th generational warfare paradigm right now. So doing this show is my effort, right? We're not soldiers. It's not bullets and bodies. Lord willing, it will never happen that way. But if the neocons, if they get their way, believe me, they're going to want to send our kids over to that criminal playground called Ukraine. Got any issues on that? Hit me up in the comments. Chuck, glad to see you. So, the things that are going on now, besides being crazy and clownish, are something like this. This is out of Barron's. I don't know if you guys follow it, Barrons. China, Brazil strike deal to ditch the dollar for trade. Might not sound a lot, you know, a big deal to a lot of people, but if you follow international trade, if you follow the hegemony of the United States dollar, okay? If you follow these things, you know that that's a big deal. It's like the death knell to all that stuff you have in your retirement account, that you have in your bank account, and I don't mean to panic people. Please, don't get me wrong. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not somebody who runs on the fuel of fear porn or anything like that. I'm going to use, again, the catchphrase from the Economic Ninja. Goes something like this. Don't be scared, be prepared. And that's what we're all about. So one of the things, Ms. Mary, who contacted me, one of our watchers, she contacted me and she asked about some things that we could touch on. And one of them was storage, meaning food storage. Preparations, everybody. We're here to prepare. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I'll speak about it. I'll speak to it, okay? If you would like a wider platform or you're an expert on something, let me know. We'll work something out. We'll put a piece on with your material, or we'll have you here in the studio to interview. We're open here. This is Joe's station, everybody. He's the manager. He's the producer. He runs it, okay? So he's very open to these things. We will discuss these things. We're open to whatever it is you want to do to help prepare our community, our world, for what we believe is coming, which is going to be rough, but then it's going to get good, everybody. And there's another thing that I want to talk about that Ms. Mary wanted to talk about. Okay. So, in Barron's, we see this article. It says, China, Brazil strike deal to ditch the dollar. China and Brazil have reached a deal to trade in their own currencies. That's very important because as they go on, ditching the US dollar as an intermediary the Brazilian government said Wednesday Beijing's latest salvo against the almighty greenback. Their words, Barron's words, not mine. So the deal will enable China, the top rival of the U.S. economic hegemony, and Brazil, the biggest economy in Latin America, to conduct their massive trade and financial transactions directly. Exchanging yuan for reais, I guess that's the fiat of Brazil, and vice versa, instead of going through the dollar. Ladies and gentlemen, again, we are not taught these things. The only reason I know this is a lot of late night radio in the 90s, the 2000s. I mean, if you were to add up all the nighttime radio I've listened to, if you were to add up to the now the podcasts and all the things that I've looked at, very few people have gone to college for as long as, and I wasn't one of them. Okay, certainly wasn't one of them. But I have watched these things evolve, so I realize how important this kind of thing is. The United States, especially in the 1970s when it created the petrodollar, the United States offered, and it's much more complicated than this, but I'm going to boil it down simply. The United States offered Saudi Arabia protection in return for all oil trade to be done in the US dollar. That was called the petrodollar. So it wasn't actually backed by oil, but it might as well have been, because you couldn't buy oil worldwide without doing so in the US dollar. What does that do? It gives the US dollar power, influence. Okay? That is either completely gone, waning, or about to go. Okay, it's definitely waning, as you can see with articles like this. If this article comes to Barron's, do you think it was a surprise to any of those involved? No, of course not. No one is surprised but we, the consumers, because that's our job, is to consume, right? That's what they relegate to us, is to consume. Well, we don't have to do that. We don't have to follow their lead, because in the end, it's off a cliff. So let's prepare and let's do things in a different way now that we have the opportunity to do it. Eddie, good to see you, Eddie. So, China-Brazil strike deal, it's going to happen more and more so. Okay, that's why you want an off-ramp. You want to get off of the crazy train. Bitcoin can do that for you. Okay, the Bitcoin Otter, the business I have helping people navigate into crypto, is not to convince you to buy Bitcoin. I'm not a financial advisor. I won't tell you what to do with your money. I don't even want to know how much money you have. I'm just here to help you get into it if that's your decision. Once you've made that decision, contact me. My number is 956. I'm sorry, that's a different number. 737-256-9339 is the Bitcoin Otter hotline. And also bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. So contact me. I can help you navigate all that. In Zero Hedge, eminent, I guess that means important in some ways, and prominent, but they're using the word eminent. Oxford scientist says wind power fails on every count. Ladies and gents, they didn't have to tell us that, but now we have somebody who calls, well, they call him an eminent Oxford, because I guess that, that lends credulity. If you're eminent and from Oxford, let's hearken. We shall hearken to this scientist, because, well, he says wind power fails on every count. Of course it does. It doesn't take someone like an eminent Oxford scientist to tell us that, but we're going to hear what he says about it anyway. It could be argued that the basic arithmetic showing wind power is an economic and societal disaster in the making should be clear to a bright primary school child. So it should be clear to kids. It should be clear to them. Taylor, how you doing? Taylor is the screen grab, and I'm glad to see you here. I know who you are, and I love what you do. So, a school child can understand this, but what's the problem, ladies and gents? What's the problem? Where is the obstacle, the barrier for a school child to understand that wind power fails on every count? I'll tell you the obstacle. The school system, the educational system, the systematic indoctrination of our children. There's nobody in a public school that's going to tell these kids the truth about wind power. Nobody's going to inform them that this thing it's economically bankrupt. It's driving economies, both local, national, and international, off of a cliff. That the end result, or the intent, I should say, has never been to really help the environment. It's only to bilk people out of money. It's only to bankrupt people. It's only to put the average person at a disadvantage to the extremely wealthy who travel around in their jets. They preach to us of cow farts, so they need windmills that don't work. Yet they go around in their Gulf Streams from, climate change thing to climate change thing. They get, 16, 13. How old is Greta now? They get this girl who knows very little other than the indoctrination she's undergone, and she's preaching to us who have to work for our families? No, I think not. I think not. But anyway, it fails on every count, says this mathematician. So he's a physicist also, and a researcher at CERN. I've done some things on CERN. It's worthy of a whole show. Anyway, he's also a fellow at Keble College, emeritus professor. I'd be here all day, Joe. I would be here all day on the credentials of this guy. So what I'm basically going to say is, he concluded, windmills suck. Wind power fails on every count, he says, that governments are ignoring overwhelming evidence of the inadequacies of wind power and resorting to bluster rather than reasoned analysis. Is there anything governments are better at than bluster? Yeah, I got a lot. Maybe corruption, perhaps. They might be better at that than bluster, but they're really good at bluster. Really good at it. So, windmills don't work. And we can go on also about the solar power thing, where they have these huge arrays. I mean, there are farms of them, and they kill the birds because the birds get, how you do the deal with the opposite effect anyway. You get the magnifying glass in the sun, and you can kill ants because the heat. Same thing with these solar arrays. The heat, the sunlight is gathered, and boom, it goes up. Birds get fried, and they get hit by windmills too. Anyway, this whole green thing is a scam, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to know more, I can back this up by people who did go to college, okay? Scientists, and know the science is not settled, because if it's settled, it's not science. Science is all about questioning, all about proving, all about improving the theories, the hypotheses, all that good stuff. It's not about setting a doctrine and not wavering from it. As we learned from the pandemic, there are still people driving their cars around. I see them, they drive their cars with a mask on. Please, people, please, learn, realize, get outside that governmental thought box that basically prohibits thought. Anyway, insider paper. This comes from Insider Paper. Honduras breaks, for my non-Spanish speaking friends, Honduras breaks diplomatic ties with Taiwan, their foreign ministry. So, why am I offering this information? Because I believe that in addition to the Ukrainian mess, the miasma of corruption that is Ukraine, okay? If you want to pick this bone with me, I am prepared. We won't argue, we will discuss, okay? Throw up some comments, send me some emails. We'll have you on the show if you feel that strongly about it. If you're one of those people on Twitter that have the Ukrainian flag on your Twitter feed, and you want to give billions more of American dollars to the child trafficking, the human trafficking, the money laundering, the Azov Nazis, and the biowarfare labs in Ukraine, well, then we can discuss all these things. Okay, we can discuss why Russia went in. We can discuss why it's inevitable that the elite criminal playground known as Ukraine is not going to be that for very much longer. We can discuss all these things. I'm not afraid to discuss them. I can back it up. I can tell you why I think the way I think. And then we can get logical, which sometimes is not anything even attainable around the Ukrainian subject. Billions and billions of dollars for a nation that's on the border of Russia should be obvious to anyone who knows that we don't want a nuclear war, that we just leave it alone. But it's not obvious to the usual suspects, because they want a war. They want a war. But they're not going to get it. Good news. I believe they're not going to get it. So, Honduras announced on Saturday that it's broken off diplomatic relations with Taiwan 11 days after saying it would establish diplomatic ties with China. Now, if you're not following the subject, you're like, Taiwan, China, what? Well, China claims Taiwan as its territory. It owns Taiwan, basically what it's saying. But the Western world, okay, the neocons, right? You've got you got Bolton, you got Bush, you got Victoria Nuland, all these warmongers. They just want war, and they want the bullets to be sold by the contractors. They want the Red Cross. They got their own thing going, and I won't get into that. That'd be again worthy of a whole show. So there's all kinds of stuff on that. That said, the reason why Taiwan is a hot point is the potential for an exact scenario of Ukraine and Russia happening with Taiwan and China. Okay? Because and I hate when politicians say, let me be clear. So what I'm going to be is frank. No, I'm the Otter. I'm not Frank, but I'm going to be very, very simple in my explanation. Ladies and gentlemen, in case you haven't noticed, and many haven't, we are literally in a war. It's not the kind of war that the greatest generation fought on the beaches of Omaha and other places. It's not that kind of war. There are bodies, a la the pandemic, okay, and other things that I don't want to mention right now because I'm on Joe's YouTube, okay, and I can't say truth on YouTube. Remember, I vowed never to say truth about the 2020 election. I'm always going to back them and their fantasies on the 2020 election. I put my hand up. I did that, more than once. So I already have one of my shows struck down for telling the truth about the 2020 election. So I won't do that anymore, especially on Joe's YouTube channel. Now, that being said, this war that we're in is not like any other war that we've experienced. There are bodies. People are dying. It's real. All over the world. But it's not an overt, obvious, in-your-face war other than the Ukrainian one, which is a proxy war. The U.S. and NATO countries are fighting this war. They're putting NATO or Ukraine in between NATO, U.S., and Russia, and that's the war right now. It's very, hopefully, localized. So, that being said, this war is sapping the economic power out of everyone. Very few people and very few businesses are able to thrive in this environment. But it was designed that way. But I'm here to tell you that it's my belief, heartfelt belief, that the average people, the good people of this world are going to win. We're going to come out on top. I have many reasons for that. We're at the 5:45 hour here. Now, this is out of the Gateway Pundit. In the mad dash to pursue all things electric for the sake of climate change, Ford Motors has invested heavily in the production of electric vehicles. So far, things are not going according to plan. Ford is losing billions on this in 2023, and it's only March. Oscar, great to see you, brother. Great to see you. So, Ford is losing millions in electric vehicles. We just went over the faults and the problems, some of them. We only scratched the surface on windmills. Okay? I don't know if you know, it's just a tidbit. Hundreds of gallons of oil need to be in those things for lubrication purposes. It's not what the Greens think is green. And you can't get rid of them. Anyway. Roseli, good to see you. Roseli's on. Thank you very much for tuning in. So, we went over windmills. What's the deal with electric cars, Otter? Why are those not good? Few reasons. I found this out a couple weeks ago. Did you know? And this is from X22. Dave on X22. Great show. Check him out. He's on Rumble. They kicked him off of YouTube. But he's on Rumble. He's on a bunch of platforms. But check him out on Rumble. X22 Report. And he's got his own website, .com. Anyway. Electric vehicles have a battery, obviously. What happens if this battery gets a deep scratch or a crack? Can you guess, Joe, what happens to these batteries? They're done. The most expensive part on an electric vehicle is the battery. You mess that battery up, the vehicle's junk. You might want to put a lawnmower engine in there or something. Maybe that'll work, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is the vehicle's done. It's totaled. Just like if you get hit hard enough in a car accident, your insurance company will tell you your vehicle's totaled. If you break, scratch, dent, in any way damage sufficiently to affect the output of that battery, it's done. That's one thing. Two, what are you going to do with that battery? Nobody wants it. You can't just leave it at a junk shop. You can't just leave it at a junkyard. You can't. They're not going to crush it the way they crushed the cars like they did in the old days. You deal with it. It's your vehicle. If you can't find a buyer, you end up with it. These are things people don't tell you about electric vehicles because everybody's, whoa, Greta, we love you. We want our Prius. We want our Tesla. We want all that. They don't realize that, one, it's not green, okay? Because you got those little kids in the depressed countries, the Africa, the India. They're digging this stuff. These little kids, everybody, they're digging this stuff out of the earth. They're this tall, but they're digging stuff day and night, muddy all day long, so that you can have your lithium for your battery because it's green. Those kids are not green, ladies and gents. Those kids are not green. They're suffering because there's no labor laws in those places. They're the ones giving you the vehicle that you have to plug into the wall. And guess where you're getting that power? You're getting it from your local power company. Where do they get it? I'm telling you right now, not substantially from windmills or solar. They're not. They're not getting it there. They're getting it from conventional fuels, oil, coal, nuclear. So when you plug in and think you're feeling all warm and fuzzy about your new vehicle, your electric vehicle, don't ever think you're doing the environment a favor. And certainly not those little kids in Africa and India. You're not doing them any favors, that's for sure. Anyway, Ford's losing billions. They're losing billions on electric vehicles. Why? Who wants an electric pickup truck other than a novelty? If you're so rich you can buy it, might as well do it. But otherwise, who wants one of those? Realistic rednecks, cowboys, vaqueros, Texans. We don't want electric pickup trucks. Eat them, Ford. Eat them. You can have them, because we don't want them. Electric pickup truck. Anyway, this is from what I like to call a go-to account for sometimes sarcasm, very much inside information. It's called the Real History Channel. Okay? Guy's name's Mike. I like it. I don't stand by everything he agrees with. I'm sure nobody here, Joe, doesn't stand by everything I agree with. We're all our own people, okay? So if you ever check out the Real History Channel, you're going to see some things that he stands by that necessarily I might not. But I'll tell you, this is something I stand by. And I stand by our government abiding by the Constitution. Our set of stipulated God-given rights articulated in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, okay, our freedom founding documents by our founding fathers, okay, who had a lot more testosterone than the average man today, and they used it for good. How many people have been blessed by this country? Yes, the neocons have taken over the policy and are bombing families in faraway lands and poisoning us here at home. But the fact of the matter is, our nation was founded on right principles, no matter what these communists want to tell you in the educational system. So here at the Real History Channel, Trump in Waco on 30th anniversary of massacre. What a delightful, this is massacre. You ask, what massacre? Joe, you might be thinking, what massacre? 30 years ago in Waco, there was a disgusting, egregious federal overstep of power in Waco, Texas. If you are old enough, you remember the Branch Davidians. They call that a cult. Dave. Big Dave is on. We're going to have Big Dave on one of these days. Okay, he's a mortgage specialist. We're working out the details. We want to get him on. So Waco, Texas had a tragic event because these Branch Davidians had what the government always calls a compound. They probably would have called it a community. They would have called it a farm. They would have called it who knows, subdivision, whatever. But if you're in the government and you want to, put prejudicial language to a certain thing, you call it a compound. And that's exactly what they did. So the government, the FBI, the ATF, they were all there. They were there. They put rock music 24/7 blasting into this community compound, whatever it is, right? In the end, there were women and children in there. The leader that they wanted, this David Koresh guy, was walking around on the outside for a long time prior. They could have grabbed this guy. They could have snatched this guy without injury to anyone. Okay? 30 years ago in Waco, Texas. Look it up. The Branch Davidians. So they ended up burning alive women and children. It was a textbook hostage situation. But when they went in, they just started shooting. They threw incendiaries. The government agents threw incendiaries. And there are pictures to prove this, some of these ATF folks posed for pictures with their buddies. And there were bodies in the rubble. People don't tell you this stuff. Ladies and gents, the news will not tell you these things. Again, I can't tell you how much research I've done over the years. I can't tell you how many informational interviews I've sat through, I've learned from. But what I can tell you is these things have happened. Waco wasn't the only one. Ruby Ridge was another one. We won't get into that. Mr. Finicum in the whole Bundy Ranch thing. Okay, basically it's these neocons flexing their muscle to tell the American people that we are subjects. Well, I'll tell you what, we're not. We're not subjects. We're citizens. We the people. So, Mike King from the Real History Channel, after he says Trump and Waco on 30th anniversary of massacre, he says, what a delightful Sicilian message that the Donald has just sent by holding the very first 2024 presidential rally in Waco during the 30-year anniversary. A Sicilian message. To whom might that message be directed? The usual suspects, people. The deep state people. They're done. They're done. Yes, they're still alive. They're flopping, they're flipping. It's like that rat. You got it in your house, you've cornered it, you got the broom handle, you're going to kill the rat. The rat's hissing. The rat's going to bite you if you stick your finger out there. But the rat is going to die. The deep state is going to die. The elites are gone. The rule they had over us, poof. You can see it, ladies and gentlemen. They don't have control over the narrative anymore. Don't have a lot of time. But what I want to do is I want to touch on that shooting. Okay? I want to touch on that shooting. A person who, in my opinion, just my opinion, was confused about some things, went into a school, shot it up. This is what the official story is. Shot it up, got shot, killed. So there are people out there that want to identify with the killer. The mainstream media wants to identify more with the killer than the kids and the adults that were killed in that school. Why? I'll tell you right now why. Because the kids and the adults that were killed in the school were Christians. People don't think about these things, but Christians are under attack. Oh yeah, but this and the wars and this and that, the crusades and all that. Remember that history is always written by the people who have control over it. With that said, the mainstream media is not standing by the children that were killed. okay, the adults that were killed, because they were in a Christian school. The mainstream media is owned by the same conglomeration that owns the educational system. The educational system does not like Christian schools. The educational system, the teachers' unions, do not like charter schools. So when something like this happens to them, they don't care. They don't give a rip. They don't care, ladies and gents. First, it's not their kids. Second, it's just Christians. But you know who they care about? They care about the transgenders. These people who, in my opinion, are confused. We need to love them, everybody. They're human beings. They're creatures of God, like you, me, everybody. Every human being is a creature of God. They deserve human dignity. They deserve to be loved. But I'll tell you what. To focus on what I believe to be a lifestyle choice over the lives and deaths of people because they believe a certain way, Mingo, good to see you. That is inexcusable. So if you watch The View or anything else like that, you might as well watch a pasture of cows fertilizing that pasture. You'd get more out of that than you would out of The View. But if you do happen to watch that vile swill called The View, well then, you'll probably hear about the hard life that transgender individual had prior to shooting up a school. And, you know, the heartstrings get pulled. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. Don't fall into that trap. Here's another thing. Be prepared, not scared. I wanted to, touch on some things that Ms. Mary told me about that she would like to, to let everybody know, and I would. Food storage, ladies and gents. Get some canned goods. Get some dry goods. Store them somewhere in your house. Supply chains, they're here and there. Hit or miss. We don't know what's going to happen, everybody. Prepare for you and your family. That's what this show is all about. Being prepared, not scared. Some food storage. Because you never know when another pandemic is going to come about. Now, I hope we've learned our lessons from this last pandemic, okay, when the cure was slapping us in the face. But Fauci kept it from us, okay? We had things out there that I was banned from Twitter from. I think it was a 12-hour suspension because I said that certain things would treat and or cure COVID. Oh no, they couldn't have that. Even though I was right, they couldn't have that. You want some more information on that? I've got a ton of it, okay? My feet were held to the fire on the whole vaccine issue. I know what I speak of. So, bitcoinotter.media@gmail.com. I'll give you all the information you need to make an educated decision, an informed decision on that kind of stuff. So, again, I want to reiterate. 97.7 KCYP, the city, is going to have an event in here. The McAllen Creative Incubator. Come and check it out. It's the old McAllen Library. Great building, 3 stories. There's artists, there's musicians. They're going to have comedians. They're going to have snacks. They're going to have vendors, barbecue sandwiches. They're going to have all kinds of cool stuff for the family. It's going to be an all-day event. Starts at noon, ends at 9. So if you got to work or whatever, noon to 9 is a pretty wide space there for you to jump in, check stuff out. Donations are accepted. It's a free event. But donations are accepted, and they're tax deductible because 97.7 is a nonprofit organization. Okay? So come on by. Stop by, see the place. It's a cool place. Got artists of all stripes here. It's an interesting and very cool place to be in. So as we come up on the 6 o'clock, we passed the 6 o'clock hour. I want to thank everybody that's watching and all the viewers that can't watch live, but you're going to watch. Ladies and gents, believe it or not, we get hundreds of viewers. Okay? When we combine the KCYP 97.7 FM audience with the Bitcoin Otter audience, we get hundreds of viewers. We're working on a better, more streamlined sponsorship program. So the business people out there, we're going to come out, and Mary has already been interested in this. We're going to revamp our sponsorship program, okay? And we want to make it easy, inexpensive, and very, very community-oriented so that your business, your community, be you local or worldwide or national, gets to know who you are. We're going to have you on the show if you want, If not, I will present your business. Thank you, Mary. I will present your business to the listeners. Again, hundreds of listeners, not always, especially in the the holiday season and stuff like that. People don't have a lot of time. But we're hoping on boosting that number, get better numbers, so to speak, because I'll tell you, and as I've said before, the Bitcoin Otter show, the business is to me more of a ministry. Why is it a ministry? Well, I believe that there is a role to be played for those of us who see things coming. It's the biblical role of a watchman. And I feel at this time that we are standing on the city walls, looking out at what's coming, and looking back and telling everybody, hey, this is what's coming. Prepare. Make your decisions as you will for you and your family. I'm not going to make those decisions. That's on you. You make your own decisions because you are your own person, your own situation. But what I do at Bitcoin Otter, and we are also a nonprofit, what we do is put the word out, hopefully getting people enough information where they can get their family out of the way of this runaway train that we spoke about earlier. So, to end, I want to say that both Joe of 97.7 KCYP The City here in McAllen, and I, Chris Ott, Bitcoin Otter, want to let you know that we're here for our community. This war that I spoke of, this fifth generational war, 5 Gen they call it sometimes, it's on. And we're doing our part. And we want to come alongside community members that are doing their part. Because we can do something. We can, and we will. Thank you very much for watching. May God bless all of you. May God bless your homes, your families, your businesses. May we succeed. May we push through this strangulation by the usual suspects over the regular people in the world. We will win, ladies and gentlemen. We will win. Oh yeah. And I do believe that we will see our favorite president again in 2024. But that's just me. I can't say too much else, but that's just me. Everyone, I'm going to sign out now. From Joe at 97.7 KCYP The City, and Ott from Bitcoin Otter. I'm your Otter. I'm here for you. Adios.
The Bitcoin Otter Radio Show on 97.7 FM.